all about empowering soul forward living, experiencing life from the radiant sense and the truth of who you truly are, knowing that we are spirit in form. And this is a multi-dimensional wellness series that we're diving into every week here on Soul Fusion Cafe. Tuesdays, we are live at 9 a.m. Pacific. That's noon Eastern. So maybe you catch us on your lunch hour. And we are broadcasting at onenesstalkradio.com. Also over at Oneness Talk Radio on Facebook and Oneness Talk Radio on YouTube. And you can check out all kinds of amazing hosts and shows and music, all geared towards positivity, spirituality, upliftment. This mission that we have a space where all voices deserve to be heard and all voices are bringing forward the energy of authenticity, of self and spirit in a way to ignite one another. So it is a beautiful platform and forum. So check out other shows going on there. Again, I am Jess Juntunen. If you're just tuning in now, Soul Fusion Cafe, and welcome to this beautiful hour of sharing and this multidimensional wellness. I'm just loving this series because we get to dive into what is multidimensionality, which I love talking about and chatting about. And if you're over in the chat at YouTube or at Facebook, hello, enjoy chatting and sharing with one another. I cannot see right now what is happening, but I feel you all in the chat over at onenesstalkradio.com as well. So truly, truly a gift to be with one another because we are a community as well. And it's been really fun because we've been having some beautiful, I see your chats after and just all the beautiful love and sharing that's happening there is just wonderful as well. Or if you're catching this in the archives, welcome. It's the perfect moment for you to be here. Whether you're live or listening to this as a podcast later, it does not matter. You are here at the perfect time. So me, I am a Master Avesa energy healer and practitioner, an Avesa medical intuitive, as well as a self-ascension intuitive counselor, doula, I don't know, you name it, but everything kind of comes under this umbrella of self-ascension, counseling and mentoring and supporting others one-on-one and in communities like this and workshops and classes and retreats in order to remember the power of our own being. And this is a powerful week. Every week I like to talk a little bit about what's going on this week energetically, and know that if you're tuning in later, you can just revisit this moment and remember what you were maybe doing at this time, or just trust and receive exactly what you're needing to receive in this moment at the right time. So I always like to talk a little bit about energetically, it supports us. And some of this information for sure is channeled in what I receive and what I feel is in alignment to bring to you. And I also really the only people I really follow anymore at all for energy support or guidance or what is going on are wisdom teacher Sri Ramkat and Master Lady Kira Raa. And you may follow them. Quite a few people in the chat I know are following and tracking with Sri and Kira. And I have the honor of being, they're my mentors and teachers, but also standing alongside them with Women Wellness Awakenings and bringing that program and community to the world. And you can check that out at my website, selfascensionstudios.com, or at womenwellnessawakenings.com. There is going to be an amazing summit that's going to be global and virtual, but also in person. So you choose which way you can attend in March for Women Wellness Awakening. So, just beautiful. So many gifts, divine feminine flooding our planet, right? And the information that Sri and Kira give, go to shriandkira.com. If you have not had the blessing of connecting with them and anything I am sharing resonates, they are definitely discussing the energies in detail through their radio shows. If you check them out on YouTube as well, official Sri and Kira, it's authentic, it's real, it is information that is so timely and so important and has always served me and so many others seamlessly, because it's really free of ego. It's really about supporting us where we are right now. So I always love talking about that because it's so important. We have these touchstones throughout our days where we are connecting with other beings. So if you're connecting with me and receiving a touchstone of support that helps you navigate these times or gives you a nugget, or you meet somebody else in the chat or whatever, it's my intention and hope that, this is that touchstone and that remembrance, and that you come away with something, or you just feel uplifted. It's truly an hour of upliftment. And excuse me, so much throat activity, and I'm drinking my water. It's so crazy. So much. And I'm feeling that from so many people, so much of that truth. Can I live in the way I am? But the third chakra, wow, of our trust and empowerment is huge this week. It is so profound that we are being asked to stand in our power. And, this episode today is also about, talk about the energies. That's one part of what happens here. And I like to dive into a topic a little bit. And sometimes I have a co host, and sometimes it's just me, and it's just me today and you. It's not just me, it's all of us co creating this moment. And, this episode really came forward to me as like, this is about the mother. This is about women as mothers. This is about the mother within us. This is about honoring the mothers. This is about the earth mother, mothers, multidimensional wellness for mothers and mothering, and all those kinds of juicy topics that are brought forward as we focus that light on what does it mean to be a mother? How do we support other mothers? What is the call to really support the feminine right now, women, not just biological mothers, but just the mother, right? And even if you're not a woman, like, how can you honor the mothers in your life? How can you honor the mother balance within you? How do you honor the mother that is our planet? Uh, in this beautiful universe, so profound. And so as I was thinking into, wow, this is what this show is really about, this mothering energy and the importance of this moment right now, they go together, they absolutely go together. And it's so important. The full moon is coming. This backdrop came from a Women Wellness Awakenings event. It was part of the home study, and we had all these beautiful images and backgrounds representing different energies as they were birthed. We are in an energy flow that began in the June solstice, and it has continued to bring us through till now. And we had this beautiful full moon present. We had the lotus opening, the torches lit, as we moved into the 8-8 Lion's Gate, as this divine feminine energy really kicked off and has been radiating down the planet. And you know what? This week we're moving back into a full moon. It's the second full moon of October, right? On October 31st. There's not really any mistakes how there's this whole convergence happening, but it's important. It's so important. And everything is being reflected. We are in Mercury retrograde, and it's like this divine mirror. If you were to gaze into like a divination, like a bowl of water, and just gaze into the reflection, we are being shown things through the reflection right now. And we are also being bombarded by energies that would like to show us what's less than peace, love, and joy. It's the fourth dimension. It's the energy of all these disincarnate beings, and that's where all the energy lives, in the fourth dimension, that is really not anchored in compassion, love, or joy. That's really anchored in fear, drama, anger, pain, hate. It's fat, it's happy, it's eating, it's alive, it's well. And we're being affected. We really actually are being affected, each and every one of us. Even if you have been on a spiritual path a long time, we're being affected by this energy. We're noticing it, we're aware of it. That's great. Let yourself experience it and see it. That's where the mastery comes in, is that you see it and it's illuminated, and you can claim greater harmony. You can come back into reunification. You can come back to this being that you are, and to know at a greater level that you are a divine being in form. It goes from, me saying it, or Shri and Kira saying it, or whatever, teachings you're experiencing that in. We might know this as a concept for a long time. Like, yeah, I know I'm a spiritual being. I know I'm a divine being. I know I'm multidimensional and I have a human form, but it's like a concept rather than like 100% known and lived, or it's like a mix in there, right? We are, me included, going deeper into our presence, into our divine presence, anything can happen from our co-creative space of love and presence. And October 31st is a day of presence. It is a day to stay in presence all day long from sun up till sundown. And it's very important that it's sun up to sundown during the light, wherever you live. Disconnect completely from like all the technology, media, everything. You could play music, you can listen to a meditation or something maybe, but you're not on your phone. You're not on media. You're not looking around. You are present, silent being. You can have fun. You can have dinner with your family, friends. You can go outside. You can dance, but it's about disconnecting, because that fourth dimensional energy is at its height. It's building all week and it's at its height as this divine feminine is coming into the planet. It's so beautiful, it's so amazing, and we are dancing in it, those of us that are just radiating and so connected with it. But there are energies that would really prefer things stay the way they are, and they are attacking. They are rearing their heads in every way possible to try to distract you, to try to keep you from remembering the truth of who you are, your presence, everything that you know to be true within the soul of your being. You matter. We matter so much. If we can stay in that center on Saturday as much as possible, we're going to have a huge impact and rippling effect. And there are so many of us that are anchoring the fifth dimensional energies now. So many of us anchoring the seventh dimensional energies. The fifth is all about compassion. The seventh is non-judgment and clarity. As we are lifting above the kind of game board of drama and chaos, we're up here gazing about the beautiful experience of this beautiful planet, saying we just hold love and presence and no judgment and clarity. But we are up here and not engaged in the fray, not being pulled down. Even this week, I'm thinking about how I'm dialing back a lot of that stuff and just really, really being present. What do you need? What does the divine feminine within you need and require and want in order to flourish and balance? How are you going to do that? And it blends so perfectly with this topic of motherings and the mother, because it's so near and dear to my heart, being a mother myself, and single mom rock. It's like crazy amazing what we do. It's amazing what you do no matter your situation. But my heart around all single parents is just so big, and all parents, and whether or not you have biological children, if you've been an aunt, an uncle, whatever, how are you, if you've been fostering young ones, and you have that connection, or maybe you are the foster of the planet and the earth and the animals or plants, how are you the nurturer of yourself first, so that you may give that. And we always hear like we have to receive, like you have to receive. The mind will absolutely be blown, and how things will show up, we are learning to surf timelines, forget linear time, forget it all. Our mind is getting blown here. And I really want to bring in Kira Raa right now. I don't have her in person in this moment, but just about as good, because Master Lady Kira Raa and I had a meeting about some women wellness awakenings things just before I got on here. Just before I came on here. We concluded about a half hour ago, and she asked permission to grab the audio out of what we were discussing about the energy of this week and this time. And she and Sri Ramka will be talking about that on Soul Mirrors tonight. So you want to check that out at Oneness Talk Radio, or at Official Sri and Kira on YouTube, or at onenesstalkradio.com or Facebook, any of those places and others where they are broadcasting. And I will be the guest next week, next Tuesday night. I am a regular co-host there once a month. But tonight, she was saying, should we be talking about this all? Yes, we should be talking about this all. And our conversation was so beautiful. And, I was just trying to like take notes. Kira was just sharing so much about what is happening energetically now with this divine feminine, with 1031, why it's so important. It's not just the most important date of this year, guys. It's like, yeah, it's the most important date of this year, but this is a convergence. This is cycles coming together. And I know Kira is working on an article about this. This is a day out of time. It's like a void what you do with it really matters. 1031, big day. But if you are present and aware, cancel the party plans. Once it's dark out, if you want to go out and party, go out and party. Trust your guidance, right? But during the daytime hours, and they are shorter now. If you're like me, way up in the northern hemisphere, it's the days are getting shorter right now. It's not that long of a day, really, with the sun up, sun down energy of being present. But I've got this beautiful audio, so I'm going to be sharing the audio. So stay tuned, even though you might be watching on video and go, where did Jess go? We're listening to this audio of Kira sharing these beautiful, profound energies right now. And I said, hey, can I bring this into Soul Fusion Cafe? I'm about to go on and be talking about the importance of this, because this really needs to get out there to anybody that's aware and awake, and knowing 1031 is important. And this whole week is so profound, and everything Kira shared here is so unbelievably amazing and timely. So I'm going to let her share and bring that up for you guys. So enjoy.
Forward right now, right? So as we have this huge mirror of Mercury in this moment where it's all about coming into this third chakra and power, we are building to this literal, it's so mind-blowing that it can be mind-defying. Do you understand what I'm saying? This is what I was writing. Right. Mind-blowing can become mind-defying. And so I'm sharing that with you because we're at that moment of, are you ready to have your mind blown, or are you ready to have your mind defied? And what I mean by that is that if you keep arguing with it, you'll stay stuck in it. Or are you ready to just go, you have to let go, because what we're talking about is so outside of everything we have ever been taught is real or normal or we should understand. And yet there are too many of us who are on the undeniable other side of this, not only completely aware of what's happening and seeing it, but able to actually be aware of the totality of everything that's happening at once. And to have gone beyond our own self-limitation, to have gone beyond our own moment of saying, wait a minute, I'm doubting myself because, and having looked at all of those becauses. And that's what Mercury's doing right now. That's what's amplifying right now, is that all of those becauses are in front of us. Because Jess, if we can, and I don't know, maybe we could do this or not. But if we can step it, and what I mean by step it is say, look, go back to the foundation of your spiritual essence, which is you absolutely know you are an eternal being having an experience through a body of form. You got to start there, right? So let's building block one, right? The four knowns, right? Let's just bring out the four knowns, right? Because that's what it is, the four knowns. So, I am not this body, right? So we could be moving through the four knowns, and maybe as I'm sharing that with you, maybe that's what we need to do, because that builds what I'm talking about, which is once you accept, okay, I know this, then I know that past lives are not fiction. I know that past lives are absolutely real. I know for a fact that, this is a culmination of many other experiences. I'm aware of that at whatever level, whether it's an essence or not, because that's a building block of consciousness. It really is, because it expands the limitation of this is it. Right. And so we talk about that and we build upon that, getting to the moment then, well, if all of that, if I'm really authentic, right? If I'm really nakedly authentic, if I'm really walking that walk, then if I honestly do own all of that, if I really do own all of that, then of course I am living in the fifth dimension, and the fifth dimension is real. And if my left brain still needs more demonstration, Einstein at this moment right now is being absolutely validated beyond anything. And let us not forget, he was one of the greatest proponents of vegetarianism. He also said it was the only way we would save the planet. Let's pay attention to what this beautiful, beautiful, incredible being brought into the planet. Right? Because that's, to me, the greatest left brain of all is speaking from the universe saying, pay attention. So I think that's where we're at right now.
Wow.
And I think that this week, like last night, were you there when Jess, it was horrible when I saw those clubs beating my head and crushing my skull. And here I am teaching you guys, sharing all of this, and I kid you not, I am having a completely other experience right here. And it was this nasty wooden long club with metal spikes, like hand chiseled black metal spikes. And I remember the minute I felt it hit me, and I went down while I was teaching you guys.
Wow.
And you know, and that's happening a lot lately. I'm remembering when I was in this little cave, it was like I think it was maybe, I want to say it was Europe somewhere. I'm thinking it was France. It might have been why I always wanted to go back to Paris. But it was a witch thing. And I was in this underground prison where they had like hacked out like somebody had hand hewn like a cave, and there was a heavy metal gate in front of me. And all I could do was sit there as I felt my body rotting away and dying. And it was a long, slow, horrible death. And I just remember sitting there, there was nothing I could do. In the clothes they dragged me in on, and that was it. And it took like months for that to happen. And so what it gave me was an opportunity, because I finally had to get to the point where there was nothing I could do about what was happening to the physical body. It gave me the opportunity to spend those many months being and really, really coming into the presence and the empowerment we can call forward. And so I've had a few others come forward in front of me as well. All of them, you know, goodness gracious, I think it's why I'm so hypersensitive to pain in this lifetime, is because I had no idea how many lifetimes I was tortured. And so we are all at a moment where that's all bullshit. None of that matters. And it doesn't mean that they're not, and see, even as I'm sharing that to you right now, they're trying again. And that's how they're coming after me this week. And this is what they right? Is they're putting all of that in front of me. Like right now, I feel like I'm drowning. And in this lifetime, I actually did try to kill myself by drowning when I was 21. Yeah. And that's what I feel like right now. That's why I know that feeling. And so I'm sharing this with you for a lot of reasons. Number one, because they said it so well last night in the ensoulment. No one is immune from what's happening right now. So to believe you are is the epitome of spiritual activism and egoism and absolute knowing that you're refusing to look at what's really happening. Anyone who can't look at it and own it, and that's why I'm doing it. And so, and as I'm sharing this with you, remember last night they said we will connect with you with the tone of your home. Well, as I'm sharing that with you right now, I'm hearing that. And it's like suspending me. Right? And so, Jess, I guess my question is, do we share to that level? Like, should I be the one to kind of lead the charge and say, okay, look, none of us is immune. Here's how they're really trying to pull me.
Oh, everybody is tuned in. You know, everyone's kind of keyed up this week and wants to hear, me included. Like, this is all just like, I'm writing notes and just reflecting, because it's huge. It's not just about, you know, the 31st being like the most powerful day of the year. I mean, you said this was like a 6,000 something year event. We're all feeling this, Kira. I mean, it's
Jess, and it's hiding in plain sight. You do understand that by bringing this in on the 31st. This is that moment where, and why are they showing me this week all the times I've been tortured, killed, whatever, for being a witch, you know, when all I was doing was helping women deliver babies, you know, or whatever. Right. And so what's so important here to remember is that this is the greatest attack on women you will ever see. Yeah. You're never going to see the divine feminine attacked more than you will starting right now. And, you know, I woke up this morning to see, you know, I don't look at mainstream or anything. And I'd actually been off even deeper than normal, not even looking at email for a few days. And the first thing I saw was what the United States has done to their Supreme Court. This is the greatest attack on women you have ever
Did you hear what happened to our governor too? There was a
Yes.
militia groups that tried to
Yes.
kidnap her,
That
like
beautiful
literally,
woman.
and put her on
Yeah, and
trial.
honey, I saw it and my heart sank that nothing was affirmed about it, because it was
She's
more
been
than
trying, yeah.
yeah.
She's been really trying to call it out, you know. I mean, she's
God bless
definitely,
her.
really, truly, I mean, she really is exemplifying a strength and an empowerment in the face of all of it, and calling on it to be called out, you know, but it's not, but it's, you know,
But she's in a feminine wrapper.
But
And
yeah,
that's why I'm saying
exactly. She's being attacked because she's a woman.
That's it. This is beyond politics. This, well,
Because
that's
she's a
certainly
woman.
playing, right. And that's the greater issue. It's, had this been a man, there would be a very different, it would still be a malicious response because of the political dimension.
Right.
But because she's a woman, it's hitting harder. This is the moment when, and it really is a call to arms. And that's what we're building up to this Saturday on the day of the witch. Take that in.
Yes,
You know,
right.
I mean, take that in on the day where it's okay to be horrid and gory and to be as evil as you can be, and in the name of fun. We're just joking. And this, of course, the consciousness wheels would collide on that day, because that day carries all around the world. It's not just limited to one country, and it has its own ideology, and it calls out, this is like Christmas for that type of energy. So think about this. If you have the fourth dimension right now, squeezing down onto the third, this is the fourth dimension's Christmas.
Right.
They're gathering. This will pull out even those who only go to church once a year. You know what I'm saying? And so
right.
This is why, Jess, this is why it is so important that from the minute the sun, and it has to be done in the light, it has to be done during the day, that the minute the sun comes up until that sun goes down, you check out from all technology. You just check out for the day of all technology. That means no interface with technology. You remember what it's like to live a day without the dependence of technology, and that you give yourself the gift of presence through silence. Now, you can listen to music, you can dance, you can do whatever you want. We're not saying sit in prayer. We're not saying don't eat. Make a feast, share with your friends, smile, learn how to understand each other in other ways, write notes. But it's a moment that says, I'm going to take this one moment to let the earth know, earth, mine, heaven, and above know that I am here, and I am not addicted to the distraction. And can you give yourself just even one day to look at it, one day to notice how many times it calls during the day, to really recognize and remember I am. And then the minute the sun goes down, turn it all on. You know, do whatever your heart calls you to do, but it has to be done during the day. And so that's the other passion that I'm feeling we need to be getting out there loud right now.
Yeah.
Now we're back on here, folks. And hello. So profound. Like, that was so profound, sharing that conversation, was it not? And I did get to go and look at the chats really quick around, and that this was really resonating for a lot of you. And I know if you're tuning into this later, you're going to be going, wow, like, it felt so important. And I think Kira will be taking probably an excerpt of that too and sharing that as well. Because that was like everything that's been going on this week summed up so beautifully and profoundly. And that it's so important, that we might be feeling things. We really might be feeling the things, and like Kira was sharing, for her feeling all those past life experiences. And I know a lot of other people are having these too, or it might manifest in different ways. And like she said, it doesn't matter, we don't have to put our energy into it, but to recognize that it is coming forward. And we are calling back all of our refractions. We are calling back all the refractions. It doesn't really matter what happened. It's the gifts from those experiences. So if you're having remembrances, harvest the gifts, release it, and move forward. A lot of beings are getting really caught up in being fascinated with some of the astral energies and energies that are being shown to us. That's a big distraction too, whether it's past life or not. But if we are being fascinated by the distractions being thrown our way, if we're being fascinated by the emotions or what we're feeling, it's going to derail us. And that's what it is absolutely attempting to do, And I got to give a shout out because it was so cute getting to poke into the chats. And Sarah, happy birthday. I know it's going to be your birthday and you shared that. So happy birthday to you on the void day of being in presence. Talk about a huge day. And I know that there's just so much conspiring for us all right now. So much conspiring for us all right now that it's just really, really, again, it's mind blowing. It really goes beyond the mind, what's happening here. It absolutely is. Free yourself, from having to define it or think about it. Our brain wants to get some information. Okay, here's the intersections and the why it's happening, but really be present to what is happening in your experience. This is your divine dance in your moment, and I also just loved so much of what Kira was sharing there. It's so important that we do this with our presence. It's not just kind of like, oh, let's meditate, it's what day of world peace, that's flipping amazing, but this is like, hey, this is something that comes along, it won't happen again for 6,000 some years. This convergence and this opening, this chalice energy that has been open and flooding us, that we are anchoring into these crystal dimensions if we choose it, that we can fully be in our empowered presence, remembering who we are in an ever greater way. And this is just the beginning. This is a moment we all signed up to be here for. And everything in your experience has conspired to bring you here right now. Take that in. Isn't that crazy? That everything has brought us to right now, everything we needed to experience, everything that we had to go through to remember the truth of who we are. And this is a big surrender moment into the truth of who we are. Surrender is an essential step of self ascension. It's a huge step of self ascension. And so many beings skip over this step a little bit because it trips the ego up. The ego says, surrender, I don't like the sound of that. Of course it doesn't, right? It's the surrender of the ego saying, I'm giving up this personality self that thinks it's the me and putting it into its rightful place. It's part of the experience of having a form and being on this planet, but it's not the ruler, So of course it doesn't want to surrender. The ego will do anything in its power to not surrender over. And we are surrendering to the divine within. We are allowing the opening. And this is a moment for consciousness to really see beyond the veils, the doubt that would seek to stop you, anything that could be thrown your way. This could be from the mind, body, spirit, it's all converging, all is being illuminated. And there is this grand energy of, Durga that we've been going through the Navaratri, and this week is birthing us anew from that energy of the empowered divine feminine coming forward. And I have heard from several beings that, are either clients or close people with me that are having mega divine feminine empowerment moments, just wow, having to stand in front of how many beings and be in their empowered feminine and walk through the fire and have everything come together and alchemize based on their level of presence and commitment and willingness to their crystalline presence, their true nature, their self, whatever words you want to use for that. Like mind blowing or mind defying, like Kira was sharing, right? And that everything is, of course, coming out of the woodwork to attack this. And, you heard us kind of candidly sharing there about some of these energies that have been playing out in our country, even though, yes, we don't want to be embroiled in the news and what's happening. You hear these things that are happening, right? That the divine feminine is literally being attacked. When, I'm from Michigan, and when that happened with our governor, that blew me away, that there was an organized effort, and it's because she is a woman. Yeah, if she was a man and because of what she's saying and it's political, there would certainly be energies coming at him. But because she is a woman, they went as far as to try to kidnap her, try to, have a plan, like the entire thing worked out for putting her on trial and everything else, right? So it's like, wow, is this what's happening to the divine feminine? And look at the Supreme Court, right? And look at so many instances where there are energies that are trying. They're really trying. It's the last hurrah, but it's a big one when the ego, the result of this imbalance, it's not about just like it's men doing it to women. I mean, men that are unhealed are projecting their unhealed selves onto women and using them as a target for their anger and hatred of themselves because they're so fractured, they're so separate. That is what the third dimension and fourth dimension tell us to believe and gets pounded into us, is that we're all separate, and we are victims, abusers, or rescuers. We are in the victim triangle, and that's what is circulating so heavily, so it must be somebody else's fault if something in our life doesn't feel good or right, and projection is rampant. It's like it's you when it's really your own wounds, right? So we see, yes, a lot of those wounded masculine because of the imbalance, of not honoring and being so out of touch with the divine feminine nature and their divine masculine nature, the being completely fueled in density. You have beings revving up and acting out. So don't watch it, especially on Saturday. Do not watch any of it because your presence matters. All of these teachings and all of this work, if you're just new to the healing path or been doing it for a while, right? Everything is energy. And we hear that a lot, and Einstein and Master Lady Kira Raa keeps bringing him into the conversation. And I always like bringing him into the conversation too, because there is a divine being, in form that really got it and saw it, that because everything's energy, you know, it matters. Like our thoughts are energy, everything's energy, and that the level of consciousness, right, that created a problem will not be where the solution is birthed from. You cannot fix what's happening in density in the third dimension on earth, the drama, the fear, anything that's not peace, love, or joy is in the density realm. Any of that. So everything that's going on that you could be watching on the television screen is designed to pull you in. No matter how awake you think you are when you watch it, it is affecting you and impacting you energetically, right? And if we judge it all, and it's almost impossible to not watch it and have a judgment come up simultaneously. I know even as an awakened being, I've been like, I'll go look at this or watch that, but and I'll stay lifted, but it doesn't matter. You are going to be impacted by having that like looky loo, because a judgment will arise, and then you're going to have to work on releasing that judgment or whatever. So why even give yourself extra things to work with, but especially Saturday, right? And that everything is energy, the consciousness, right? That is going to heal all of that which we would judge out there that's really looking, some of it looks terrible, right? But from an ascended perspective, every soul is a part of the oneness, enacting their role perfectly in the harmony of the planet, but only through really steadfast commitment, focused awareness, complete trust of your own journey, only by really focusing on your own dance with the divine, how that looks for you. Only by doing that really will you break free from the old stories and the old limitations, because everything gets sourced from within. And right solutions are birthed from us sourcing that level of consciousness, that it's not where the problems, quote unquote, came in at. We're in a higher level of consciousness and able to see solutions that would not be present if we're trying to come at them from the level of density. I mean, we've all done that, right? Trying to fix something, solve something in your life. It could be a work issue or relationship issue, whatever. And if you keep coming at it in the level of consciousness where that problem was created, it's just like a big roundabout circle, round and round and round you go, right? And where do you stop? Nobody knows, because it just keeps going. It stops when you lift right out and off and gaze at everything with compassion and clarity. And that's the moment where your empowered presence can come forward and birth solutions that you would not have maybe even thought of because you couldn't. These solutions are coming from beyond the mind. It is time to really let go of the mind. It wants to hold on as the ruler. It wants to hold on hardcore right now, and it's doing everything it can to, if doubt is coming up and your ego and mind work together so closely, right? And if it's coming in and saying, I don't know, maybe you're not good enough to do that dream you thought of, or, oh, here comes depression knocking at your door. What's up with this? I guess I'll just go with it. Whatever the energy patterns or stories or whatever they are, they're coming up right now to be revealed, to be shown to us. So a master can say, oh, I'm experiencing all of these uncomfortable thoughts or emotions or sensations, but I know they're not me. They're revealing something, and I'm calling back the refractions, pieces of me that perhaps are ready now to finally be resolved. Why else would it come forward to show it to me in the beautiful mirror of Mercury? So, yes, let go, surrender, surrender, hand to heart, breathe. The energy of Avesa is some of the most potent, miraculous, magical energy on the planet. And I believe, a modern day cosmic priestess, part of my energy is to really bring this energy of Avesa, to as many beings that are ready to receive it. And it really is the energy of the divine empowerment within. It's the reverence of the divine empowerment within. So if you connect with your hand to your heart, and just to begin working with this energy, it's simple. Hand to heart, breathe, and Ave becomes the in breath, the Ave, inhaling. That's the heartbeat, Ave, Ave. So you just inwardly feel the Ave, sense the Ave, say it to yourself inwardly. Exhaling, sa. And you exhale with an audible sa. And just you'll notice when you exhale with sound, anyways, there's an extra relaxation. But that's also the connection to our breath and the infinite, the heart and the breath, right? And what can we not live without in a body of form? We have got to have a heartbeat. We've got to have breath happening, right? A body can still be kept alive if the brain is quote unquote brain dead. But we need breath. We need the pump, the joy pump. That's our heart. It's pumping the life force through our body that gets energized by the breath. Avesa, Avesa is the energy of the awakened being within, the reverence of the divine empowerment within. So that simple gift, but so powerful. It is Sanskrit. It's ancient. We recognize it at a cellular level. So beautiful. Let's do that again. So as you feel into the divine feminine presence within you, irrespective of what gender you identify with. Genders are of a world of polarity, where we like to categorize, but beyond our gender, our energy, feel, sense, know this divine feminine presence. Because right now, this energy of the divine mother, and however you love to just call forward or imagine or play with that concept, perhaps it's Mother Mary. For me, I love that energy of Mother Mary and the Asena energy, and she carries that nurturing love. And I love Durga and Kali and Lakshmi and these different aspects of goddesses and Isis, call forward the divine feminine. And if you don't know, it's like archetypes and angels and different energies help us kind of understand in a way and translate these energies so that the body of form and the mind and spirit here understand, but they help open and access things. So just feel into like, who are you attracted to working with? What divine feminine aspects are you really called to? Maybe, there's an avatar, an angel, a goddess, whatever that you enjoy working with that carries this energy and reminds you, and really be with it, because the divine feminine has so many aspects. Yes, she's receptive. The mother is receptive and brings in and creates life within her, but she's active too, the active energy of birth, the active energy of birthing, being a doula, a birth doula, and an advocate for mothers and babies and families to have amazing births is like, that's action energy, right? No mother ever during birth is going to just, yeah, there's an aspect of like, you have to let go of the mind and ego and surrender over the part of you that tries to control. It's happening. You're giving birth. You can't stop it. You can certainly do things that support it, drinking water, breath, movement, having support team around you. Yes, but you have to let go of the control, in order for it to really happen through the body, which has the wisdom to know what to do. But there is an active component. The mother has to participate in order to do that. She has to participate for the baby to be born. So it's like our divine feminine emergence, like we have been creating. We are in this womb of creation and we are being born. We are emerging right now. We are emerging. So respecting and honoring the energy of the mother, if you are a mother or if you know mothers, like that we are honoring women when there's like attacks happening on women just because they are women. How are we standing in our power and truth? If we see that happen in our day-to-day life, how do we handle that? How do we anchor the truth of our being and not listen to the stories anymore that maybe were told to us, not maybe, that were since the moment we were born about who we are as women? How is, a being, if you don't identify with being a woman, and how are you championing the women that you know in your life and the feminine? This is a time of coming together in community. There's nothing sadder to me to see how many mothers are just struggling and how much judgment mothers receive, right? The moment you're pregnant, everybody is telling you, what to do, how to do it, judging you for what kind of birth you're having, judging you for breastfeeding or not, judging you for how your kid is raised, what you decide to do. It's so all bullshit, like Kira and I were talking earlier in that segment. It's bullshit. It's so bullshit, and we have to stop believing any of that within ourselves as mothers, as the divine feminine, and the protectors of those that are. That we have to stop putting energy into any of those stories and the doubt, and keep walking forward. Maybe, even in circumstances that look scary and horrific, having to walk through the fire, what sees us through is the divine presence and walking through. And like I said, I have seen people walking through fire this week and emerging not only unscathed, but in their brilliant phoenix form saying, I am here. Nobody is going to F with me anymore. And it comes from an empowered presence. This is the empowered presence seeking to come forward. And it really begins with, how are you mothering yourself? How are you loving yourself enough? How are you loving yourself even more than you ever have before? I mean, this is like, go deep with it. How are you parenting the inner child? You know, because that's coming forward too in this energy. Our unhealed wounds, traumas, things that have happened could definitely be showing up in different interesting ways, maybe unexpectedly, maybe really obvious, maybe subtle. How can we really mother the inner child? Healing, the healing journey is about coming home to ourselves and remembering who we are. And to do that, we have to resolve the refractions, the woundings of the inner child. You know, it could be past life, that we are really coming in as the ascended presence, get connected, get into that energy, Avesa, and call forward the mother. If you have time to do that this week, perfect. Get into that space and call in the mother that you are, and give that inner child the mothering that they always needed, wanted, deserved. And you know, you might think you had an idyllic, amazing childhood, or you may have a really traumatic one. But no matter what, it's like we saw our parents as like the god and goddess, and that was the truth, and it came from them, right? And as we grow and learn, we see they're a person and a human being, and they were doing the best they could given their circumstances, right? But we took on those beliefs really young, like, this is the god and goddess talking to me. You know, you're just a little wee being going through the veil of forgetfulness, and now you're learning from them at their lap, you know, and they did their best. And it's not a judgment on them, even if, you know, you think they were so fantastic. This isn't about like them being good or bad. This is about the inner child, you know. Or it could be other care providers or teachers or people, you know, that inner child really needs to hear from. And it's the inner parent and the empowered divine feminine self. You know, that's why connecting with a goddess or an energy you really enjoy, you know, who's calling to, who are you working with right now, will help you channel that too for that inner child. Who does that inner child need to receive guidance from? The higher aspect of you, the higher aspect of you that brings them what? Their safety, their love, their nurturing, to have a voice, to say what they always needed to say, to be heard, to be received, you know? And then from there, you know, taking action, you know, going in and doing that work with ourselves, but then saying, here's what I'm willing to do for myself. I'm willing to take care of that part of myself. I'm willing to illuminate everything that is ready to unfold in my life. I'm ready to say yes to the divine that I am. I'm ready to call back all those refractions and pieces, see the gifts of what they offered me, forgive and release and surrender some more, whatever needs to go, and really come into the presence of who we are. It is so time to heal, to come into balance. This is for all beings, but that divine feminine receptivity, action, alignment, that is alignment coming forward, is what's happening right now. Excuse me. Take a sip. So it has been such a blessing and honor. Thanks for tuning in today, tuning into that segment with Kira and myself. If you're just tuning in now and didn't catch that, please go back and tune in. I'm Jess Juntunen. This is Soul Fusion Cafe. Thank you for being here.